OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
All right, here we go. OverDrive off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app. Your home smart speaker up on TSN 4. Later up on Crave. Brian Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan.
What's going on today?
What's going on? How are we feeling?
Feeling great, feeling refreshed. I have to admit, last Sunday, took the red eye home from Kelowna, didn't sleep on the bird, and I just mentally tried to tell myself, you just missed the night's sleep. Like, just move on with it. Dude, the whole week last week, I was a disaster, like taking random naps and just like, it caught up to me. But it took a week to get out of it. I don't know how Jamie and you guys travel all over the place because I was a disaster for a week straight. But I'm back. I'm better than ever. I might have a sandwich later. Never know.
Well,
never know.
I do need to congratulate you and your partner, Ryan Reeves. The cat is out of the bag, the Lincoln Cup. It went live yesterday on TSN. You can see
Let's
it up
just say the best team won, right?
You can see it up on YouTube, on TSN's
Wow.
YouTube channel. And Team O-Dog pulled it off in a playoff again. And it was truly a battle, and it was an outstanding sporting event. And there were some things that I didn't know were going on in the other team's cart.
Let me just ask you this. Let me just ask you this. Like, have you never, like, I've been getting obscene amounts of, like, you chirp guys and then you have has no one had a sandwich on a golf course before?
Dude, that sandwich
that
was the size of a football. Like,
No,
and it
wasn't.
came out of nowhere. You're mid.
Yes.
We played 9. We played 9 holes. Right? Like it wasn't the longest day in golf. You know, you're not at Lambton today trying to make the U.S. Open.
Dude,
You're like, I need some
here's what
energy.
happened, okay? There was a buffet for the people involved, and that's a big club sandwich, but the buffet was at 9, and we were out there. It was a long time. So I text Barry, and I said, Bearcat, you got any sandwiches kicking around? He said, I'll see what I can do. And he ran me out a wrap for Revo, and I got the club. And I was just like, thank you, man.
Hold on. hold on a second here, though. I'm glad that you won and all that. I couldn't care less. I actually saw that video, and there's I'm dating myself. There's a cartoon character called Captain Caveman, and he was a guy who would just pull out a car out of his coat. And that's where that sandwich appeared out of nowhere. Even Revo goes, "Where did you get that?"
Flabbergasted.
Like, it was a 6 foot long. It's a 6 foot long sub that you just pulled out of nowhere,
It's a
and then
hoagie.
you ate it like it owed you money.
Yeah.
It was
that's
a hoagie.
the other thing.
A hoagie. And like Noodles, we're out there. We're playing 9. I had lunch with this guy, and then we went out and played. And on the 6th green, I'm so glad that they left that in the editing because I didn't know he was eating that. I'm in the other cart with Ernie. Ernie's a professional athlete. Like, this guy's drinking waters and like prepping.
Dude,
and
I have 2 waters only, but I got a growl on, so I texted Barry. I'm like, is there a sandwich kicking around? I was starving out there.
At one point, there was a full head of lettuce hanging off of your face.
Yeah.
You were talking, and Revo, I was...
Is this...
how's San Jose treating?
Revo needed a splash guard. He's like, what is this guy doing? You're hitting him with shrapnel. It was just outrageous seeing that video.
Incredible television. Incredible athleticism. Like, that's a guy that is so comfortable in a golf cart.
I want to see the beginning again because I think Revo was a little creeped out with the lettuce hanging out there after the first bite. I just play the beginning and then cut it off because Revo, I think, had to look like this guy is pathetic.
Yeah.
And he kept saying to me when he was looking in the, like, look at the, it's just like, come on.
He's like, oh, my God. Like, this is my partner. Like, we're playing for charity out here.
Yeah. One time he said to me, because he saw the return in the cart camera, he goes, man, he goes, your head is like gigantic compared to mine. And I hardly know the guy.
Yeah.
And he just flat out said, he goes, my head compared to yours. Because I thought he was like this. He is this
He's
tough
a
guy.
big
I thought,
dude. He's a
dude,
big
he is
dude.
solid.
Yeah.
His hands and his
Large
arms
man.
are gigantic.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have a big head. I thought his head would be 4 times the size of mine, and he has a little pea head. And he's looking in the camera, and he goes, my head is tiny compared to your head. And I just was like, I don't know what to tell you,
Well, you
man.
add a sandwich to it as well. It's
You're-
just a monstrosity.
What he needed was the Andy Reid face guard. That's what he
Yes.
needed during COVID. He needed the Andy Reid face guard.
So
and
good.
that was unbelievable
It was
to watch.
so good.
I mean, it looked like a great event. All of that type of stuff. I watched it, and there's some chirping. Oh, you were good. Hayes,
Played
you were
really
good
well.
too. Yeah,
I
played
was
well.
okay. Ernie was very good, and listen, it was awesome. Thank you to Lincoln Canada. We raised money for the Canadian Cancer Society for sick kids, so it was great for charity. Again, you can watch it on TSN's YouTube channel. It's all over TSN, but it was a lot of fun. And it was cool. Like Ernie, I referenced it the other day that we shot that on May 7th, and it was early in the year for the Jays. They weren't playing great, but he said, we'll be all right. Like, we'll figure it out. We're a really good team. He said it yesterday. He said, we're a really good team. We have a chance to be a great team. My boy, my Partsy, is absolutely on fire. He's leading the American League in hits. He's up to 306 batting average. He had a huge home run on Saturday. He's making plays. Like, the guy looks
Unreal.
phenomenal at second. Ernie Clement is grinding right now, and he is factoring in significantly to this team. And they
Really
got themselves a
crafty
series
play
win.
at second when he went outside the base. They were
Dude, he was
pissed.
10 feet outside the base path.
But-
like, he looked way outside.
But even Pilar, after the game, he was like, you're allowed to kind of create your own baseline. And the Baltimore Orioles were incensed by
Yes.
that.
Yes,
they were
they
like,
were.
what is this, the Little League World Series where you can start running all over the place? One guy said, I'm not even commenting on it because I'm not going to get fined. But I guess the rule according to Kevin Pilar, is like you can get your own space out there. I
to
don't
an
know.
extent. I think
That
it's
was an
supposed to be a few
egregious one.
feet. I think it's like, you ballpark 3 feet the base path. The thing is, the Oriole player didn't really chase him down because I think he just figured, all right, that guy's out of the base path, so he's going to be automatically out. Crafty play by Clement.
Yeah.
And, he's pretty far outside the zone. I understand why the Orioles are a bit bent out of shape. But, hey, you play the game. Ernie got away with one there. The Jays found a way to hold on and win a couple of games over the weekend, and they got the Phillies in town tonight. So, more on the Jays throughout the afternoon. We got Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight. And I don't care where you lean or land politically, Trump is jamming up Knick fans tonight going to this game because the security around MSG
Crazy.
is insane. Like, it's crazy.
Why does he feel the need to be there tonight? Just because he's a New Yorker and all of a sudden a Knick fan?
yeah,
Or-
Yeah, he's a
lifelong
New
Knicks
Yorker.
fan,
I guess
all
he's
of
always
that.
been a Knick fan, and he's friends with Dolan, and I think Dolan invited him, and he's going. He goes to sporting events, but it's one thing if you go to a football stadium in the middle of nowhere. That's one thing. Like, you guys have played in the Garden. It could not be any more in the middle of Manhattan.
It is so difficult to get in there anyways, Brian, and now you're going to have this. Like, I feel for them because
Is that
we were
fence
talking
there,
about
like, just put up?
Yes, security
Oh, yeah.
for tonight
This
in
is-
particular.
I think I would have rather seen him just watch it somewhere else on TV type of thing, just for the sake of the fans. But it's not. I talked to somebody in New York yesterday. Like, the nosebleed seats, the top row is like $2,500 a seat.
Yep.
Like, you're not. They're diehard fans that are going, but man, oh man, I feel for it. It's a great event. I'm excited for it, but man, it's
going to be
you
crazy.
just add another layer having him.
Exactly.
There for sure.
It's already
Yeah.
bedlam. It's New York. It's the NBA Finals. It's going to be a crazy one tonight. Speaking of crazy, man, there's some like the coaching carousel in the NHL right now.
Oh, my God.
Is pretty wild. I thought the Joe
That's-
Pavelski story would be the big one. It's trumped, pardon the pun, by Darren Dreger's report this afternoon that the Oilers are looking at Mike Babcock. And I guess what is stopping them as of right now from hiring him is going through the Players Association. which I have to believe is unprecedented. I don't recall this ever happening before. We've had scenarios where coaches have been suspended. We had it with Joel Quenneville. I don't know if Quenneville was technically
was that
suspended.
a stipulation put in place once he resigned from the Columbus Blue Jackets?
Yes. Again, I don't know this. Pierre LeBrun's coming up. We'll ask him. But the way it went down with Columbus, with the privacy issues and the way he was kind of handling players, and then he ended up kind of falling on the sword. But I think it was a scenario where Columbus probably knew you can't coach here anymore. So you can either resign, we could fire you. What are we doing? Now, in order for him to be, I guess, granted the green light to return, he needs the Players Association to sign off on it, because it's the players that had the gripe with what he was doing in Columbus.
Well, I know, but what players? Like, is the whole league have to vote whether Babs can come back, or the
I can't
Edmonton
imagine.
Oilers?
I would think it's a formality, Noodles.
I
don't
think
know.
there's also something too, though. Like Drake said in his tweet, there was no formal investigation. So I think what you got to do, and I don't know if this is him being hired or them doing a trial balloon or them, I assumed Cassidy is that they just got to have to move on potentially if Cassidy's not available. I mean, we'll get into the Vegas stuff. I mean, that, Vegas looks like, right now for me, they look like the better team, even though they tried to give it back to Carolina the other night. But if Vegas wins a cup, are they going to allow Cassidy through the process? And does Edmonton say, well, if Cassidy's not available, do we go here? Because Lavi got hired in L.A.
Yeah, Peter Laviolette.
All hell's breaking loose,
Well, the Babcock one is fascinating on a number of different layers. Yeah. Just as a coach, it makes all the sense in the world. He is a brilliant coach. No one has ever disputed that. Yep. Like, nobody has disputed the way he sees the game, the way he can coach, the way he can – I guess motivate, whichever way you want to describe it. He's got every characteristic of a gold medal winning coach and Stanley Cup winning coach. Undeniable the way this guy can approach things. Now, what makes it interesting, obviously, is his track record. Toronto and how that ended. The Columbus stunt was had to be embarrassing for him.
A
disaster, and it was embarrassing for Columbus, the league, everyone involved. Is he a different Babcock? Everyone's trying to say that about Tortorella, right? He's not the same guy he used to be. I don't know if I believe that or not. Is Babcock softened? Is he weakened? Is he capable of using the same tricks he did in Detroit and Toronto? I don't know. Yeah. Anaheim, I doubt it.
Well,
but, role play level of whatever, if you're Connor McDavid and you're hearing this news, how do you respond?
I think they would have to run through Connor McDavid, Hayes, even before contacting him. I just think that he would have that kind of clout in Edmonton as far as what's gone on. I think even before you place a phone call, Connor McDavid would have to sign off on something like that. Like, if we're talking about Dylan Larkin, we'll get into Dylan Larkin in a minute because that's insanity. But Connor McDavid, I think, would have to run through him, man. Him and Draisaitl.
I think so as well. The other thing, too, I don't know if you guys thought of this, is the Vegas effect having, maybe a thought pushing its way through the league. And hear me out on this. It's like, no apologies. Like, if Edmonton believes that he's the best available guy, we're not making apologies for track record, anything.
Good point, Jamie.
Because we've been talking about this. Kelly McCrimmon, whatever they do, hey, we're going to sign this guy, we're going to trade for that guy, we're going to fire this person. It's like, we're trying to win. So maybe it's a scenario. That's the first thing I thought of, because that kind of came out of left field for me. And then you start to go, okay, is this the right fit? What happened in Columbus? And then, Brian, what you said is, guy's a great coach, and he has pedigree, and he's a hardened coach. I still maintain if you were going to head down that path, there's a guy that lives 60 kilometers up the road in Daryl Sutter if you wanted a one-year deal, but maybe Babcock's a little younger, that type of scenario. But
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong in this, but it just – maybe that Vegas approach is like, we're trying to win and we don't care about anybody's,
definitely
thought
something
process.
To that. I mean, they have taken a lot of daggers and it has not affected them, and they're 2 wins away from another Stanley Cup. And I think that's the same thing here with Babcock. Like, what he was alleged to have done was stupid, but not illegal. Like, it wasn't jail time or anything like that.
Right.
Yes, he made Mitch Marner uncomfortable as a kid. Was it stupid? Absolutely. Should he have done it? Of course not. Did he have to stand in front of a tribunal and beg for his freedom? No, like it's coaching tactics, and a lot of them are stupid. A lot of them don't work. Some of them do.
And there's an old school philosophy, Brian. I heard this. I think it might have been a philosophy from Pat Burns, where the old school thought process was screw with the players before they screw with you. And that was the philosophy, because it's like if you get the players screwing with you and telling GMs that you suck and you can't get it done, much as like we're seeing with all the coaches getting fired. You don't think guys are going in for their exit meetings at the GM and saying this guy's just not getting it done? You got guys in Edmonton like calling out their coach after games saying we're not prepared from the coach on down. And it's like an old school philosophy, but Edmonton will get crucified if something pops up again. I've had the highest regard for Mike Babcock's coaching ability. Like, he got that team in Detroit into the playoffs. Some years they had no business near the end, like no business. And he got them in, and he can coach hockey. But sometimes he just can't seem to get out of his own way. And he's got a big ego, and Mike Babcock, I actually like the guy. Like, there's something about the guy. I think I'm not going to say what I think he is, but I think he's a good guy, like, at heart. But he's got a big ego, and he loves Mike Babcock, and sometimes he can't get out of his way.
Yeah.
And they'll get crucified if something else pops up, and you're like, what on earth were you thinking? It's just like when anyone's trying to rehab their image, and you're like, I'm going to give this guy another shot, and they just let you down. Everyone says, what on earth were you thinking?
Right, and you'd have to believe he wouldn't possibly put himself in another, stand on another landmine between.
Well, he has to ask himself the question, can I go back and be an elite coach without all the garbage and the nonsense and all the stunts that I used to pull? Can I be successful that way? That's
and
what he's got to say.
Why would he not want another opportunity?
No kidding.
I know
with McDavid and Draisaitl, you're not going to be pulling that
exactly
garbage.
Because of that ego. He'd be dying to get back in there. Dying to get back in.
As crazy as it is, guys, like we always like who should coach there. Regardless of what happened in Columbus, I've always thought like I can't believe nobody's called up Mike Babcock, just because. Wow. And I know Drake's reported like months ago that he's retired and he's loving it, but he's dying. These guys are dying to coach.
Of course.
Dying to coach.
Of course. You're sitting there. He's on the sidelines watching coaches and what they're doing, and guaranteed going, I can do a better job than that, or this is what I would do with that team. I agree. I tried to remember, because it's been a minute, the teams that he coached in Toronto, he did a pretty damn good job. Yes, there were some mistakes, but they were structured, they were hardened. He had to shape a lot of those young guys. Like that was, I remember the speeches, and we got a little tired of the, men trying to feed their families. There were some speeches there, Brian, that
it was heroic at times.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I still believe Cassidy's the best fit there, but I just don't know if Vegas is going to allow
that. I'm not sure they will either. I mean, if they haven't up to this point, why would they in a week from now, 2 weeks from now? I'm not sure they will.
The only thing I thought about, and I was trying to bounce this off people, if Bruce Cassidy could say he signs a Babcock deal, say Edmonton's like, we'll give you $6 million a year times 5, so that's $30 million, and he's got 1 year left at what's called 4.5 or whatever. Future earnings, can a team stand in the way of something like that? Now, I don't know if there's language in the contract. I don't know if there's a labor lawyer that gets involved. But Bill Daly's comments to our insiders is like, we're okay with it for now. And I wonder if once the cup is handed out, maybe
that would be my guess is, okay, Vegas, we'll let you do your thing until it gets over, and then that's enough.
Cassidy's got to be like, well, where's my opportunities now?
That's the problem.
Yeah.
All these things are filling up. And just a side note on Babcock, guys, I wouldn't be shocked. Somebody just sent me a note of a possible scenario. Like Zach Hyman's in that leadership group, and he's tight with McDavid, and he's tight with Dreisaitl, and he's one of the core guys there. And maybe he said to the guys, like, this is something we need to look at. Mm-hmm. Because
that's fair.
Coach me intro. Obviously, Mike Babcock had tremendous thing. He's always a fan. He was his favorite player, Zach Hyman.
Yeah.
So maybe that connection, he got these guys together and said, if we want to be serious, maybe this is a guy that can get us where we need to be. And everybody bought in and they took it to ownership. Who knows? Maybe it's a possible scenario.
Listen, I think if you're Connor McDavid, you will allow anybody to coach if you think he's going to help you win.
Yeah. If it wasn't Babs, maybe Torts was heading there
exactly.
after. You know what I mean?
Supply me with somebody who can get the job done or can help put myself and my teammates in a position to win here. That's what you got to be thinking if you're McDavid.
Exactly. They go out to hire the coach, and if it's Babcock or Cassidy or somebody like that, Tortorella, it's clear they needed something, a hardened guy with detailed and structure. But, you talk about it. How about Stan Bowman put some players in there that you
no
don't
kidding,
have to
Jamie.
move away from,
that's
right?
exactly what's going on in the league. You can get Mike Babcock at Edmonton, and you can get Joe Pavelski if that's what they're going to do in Toronto here, or whatever they want. And you can hire a chief of staff, Freddie Hamilton, and all these guys they're hiring. If you don't get goalies in the net and defensemen that can make plays and move the puck, good luck to you, because I don't care who you got behind the bench or who's your chief of staff or who anybody is. If you don't have some kind of roster, like if you look at how deep these teams are, so you just put your rosters up beside Vegas and Carolinas, and if you're Toronto or you're Edmonton or you're Detroit or whatever, how many guys are getting put into a game? Like, think about that.
Yeah.
Like, how many guys, especially on your bottom six, because you're always going to find the spot for top six elite players, but bottom six guys, if your coach had a decision, Brindamore or Tortorella, it's our guy or that guy on the other team. There's not a lot of guys going in those lineups. Not a lot, man.
Yeah, probably not. Ryan Rashog tweeting out that members of the Oilers leadership group have spoken directly to Babcock recently, discussed this possibility. That would indicate to me it's his job if they get cleared. Like, that's what this indicates to me. It's basically we're hiring Babcock if the PA and the players sign off on it. Basically, it's up to McDavid. I mean, in my opinion, if Connor McDavid goes, I want Mike Babcock, he's the coach.
No. He already signed off on it. If they're looking for approval, they wouldn't have even have taken the next steps if it didn't run through those guys.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, though. Like, what PA investigation is going to top McDavid saying, actually, thank you, but I'm okay with it, so I don't care what happened in Columbus.
You know what it is? Exactly that, Brian. Like, the PA is in a tough spot here because it's almost like a suspension. When you go into a suspension hearing, the PA is defending the player that got hurt or hit or whatever and the guy who's going to get suspended. This is the exact same scenario. You're going – the players in Edmonton potentially want Babcock, potentially, again, according to Ryan Rashog, and the PA probably has to take a look at it and say, well, what was the problem in Columbus? Because some of the players had problems with him there. So it's the chicken or the egg. That's probably
the
confusion.
We'll see who ends up winning it. What about Joe Pavelski as the prospective head coach of the Maple Leafs in the future? That was not one I was expecting to hear over the weekend. And yet, by all accounts, they're down to 4 or 5 guys likely going to meet in person. And Pavelski is going to be one of those guys. And if Laviolette is in L.A., and, we know Babcock's not coming here clearly, but if Cassidy still hasn't been given the green light to talk to anybody, and we're not even sure if the Leafs are trying to talk to Cassidy, I don't know where the Leafs are going to take this. Like, if Woodcroft's not in on it, I don't know where they're going to take this. But, like, Pavelski as a player was a great player. By all accounts, a very cerebral guy, by all accounts, a beloved teammate, leader, captain, seen it all, done it all. But this would, like, the idea of Chaika, the GM, Pavelski, the coach, in Toronto goes against everything, your instincts would tell you. Is that it's a heavy lift, it's a loud market, a lot of pressure, a lot of history, a lot of work to do. You're putting in not a raw GM because Chaika's done it before, but Sundin is completely raw in the position he's in. He's never had any front office experience. And then a coach who's never coached higher than like U15 AAA hockey or whatever it is.
You know what? You could never say never, but it seems from the onset, looking at if this Pavelski stuff is actually for real, you're looking at a difference between two organizations where one group of veterans has gotten together and said, if we want to win and be serious about this, which they just had a guy that took them to the finals 2 years ago, we need a guy like Mike Babcock, who who can coach us and get us on to a system that can get things done, and we can buy in and blah, 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 because we want to win. And it seems like the other guys, and I'm not going to – this is not a shot at Marty St. Louis because he's been so successful, and that also worked. But maybe this organization is looking at a guy that can be – I'm not going to say buddies, but just be like someone similar age, and he can kind of show them how to do this and do that. It's just a completely different approach.
Well,
and who knows what either works, but that's just what it looks like from the onset. One team wants to be real serious and get over the top, and one team wants somebody that's, I don't know, that's just not as hardened and, creative, and they want to do this and they want to do that, so we'll see what works.
It's a J.J. Redick hire. Like that's what it would kind of be like.
There's a great comparison right there.
Yeah. And
it's
I know Marty
J.J.
St. Louis is another, reasonable comparison, but it's kind of a J.J.
Marty
Redick.
St. Louis is a J.J. Redick hire, but it should be called a Marty St. Louis hire because Marty's good.
Right, Marty's done great. Yeah, I mean, Redick got the Lakers to the playoffs this year, but yes, I know it's.
But the
Redick
first year was an unmitigated disaster.
Yes. Now Redick though is younger, like Pavelski. Like he just got out of the league. Like Marty's not old, but he felt like he was a little bit more removed. Like Pavelski just left the NHL.
Yeah. And by the way, don't kid yourself. J.J. Redick was doing a podcast with LeBron James.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the Lakers, though, right? That's as big as it gets. Huge market, tons of noise, and they were comfortable with him being comfortable in that situation. And that's what I guess would have to happen with Pavelski.
Remind me where Pavelski's been the last year. Has he been
He's been coaching his kid in,
like
Wisconsin or something like that.
So that is exactly the Marty St. Louis, then, technically, like coaching his kid, all of that type of stuff. But he hasn't been in the AHL with a
he's a minor hockey coach.
What are we going to do? Start sending scouts to the Quebec Pee Wee tournament for Christ's sakes in the NHL?
It's the brick tournament in Edmonton.
The brick tournament. I love the forecheck and the back check of the Edmonton Home Hardware Stars. We got to get that coach in the.
All right, Pierre LeBrun coming up on this and more. What he makes of the Babcock news. We'll get into what happened in Game 3 of the Cup Final, Game 4 tomorrow night. Where's Freddie Anderson? He's not practicing today. Is he good to go? Will he play tomorrow? That more still to come. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
Tonight on TSN 1050.
The Brunson burner has been lit.
The New York Knicks look to take a stranglehold 3-0 series lead over the San Antonio Spurs in the NBA Finals.
Wembanyama throws it on his head.
Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. Hear it all on TSN 1050. Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Crazy to think the power shift of players. Like, can you imagine back in the day, like just going to ownership as a player or presidents or GMs saying, yeah, we want to go get this. Someone would say, get the hell out of this office. Even if you were the best player on the team, I don't think it happened. Like, never.
Well, it's a pretty fascinating time right now because it
really is, man. It's the GTHL Pee Wee select team.
Yeah,
like,
and it's
we want
a race
this guy,
to a few teams.
Yeah,
like, that's what it is right now. Larkin reportedly, according to a report out of Detroit, has issued his list of teams that he's willing to go to, even though he's demanded the trade.
Dude, I'm sorry. Say
Minnesota.
the teams.
Let me finish. Minnesota, Vegas, Florida, 3 teams. So it's effectively now Minnesota's new because they haven't won anything before. They've never been a destination for people. But Quinn Hughes is there now, and they're a really good team. But Vegas and Florida, it's a race to get to one of those 2 teams for everybody.
Well, guess what I would say to him if I was Stevie Yzerman. So you're telling me you negotiated a no movement, and then you say you want out, and then you're going to give me 3 possible teams? I would say I'll see you at training camp, and good luck to you during the season. I'm not letting you. So you give me 3 unless they put together a package that makes sense to help my team get better, or else I'm just saying that's not working out.
I just don't know if Vegas wins the Cup. Why are they going? We need Dylan Larkin. Like, they might just go, hey, we're pretty comfortable here. Take a look at, like, they might. I could see Florida. Everybody wants to go to Florida reset, but. Take a look at the depth down the middle of the ice. He's not replacing Barkov or Bennett, is he? I mean, do you think
why would you do that if you're Florida? And Lundell's the third-line center, so that's not likely going to happen.
It doesn't make sense. Like, you got to look at depth charts.
Like Minnesota, but they just traded their best pieces for Quinn Hughes. So what? I'm sure they have some stuff left, but do they have a lot left? Like, if you're Detroit, how could you possibly accept this? And it just feels like it's a race. It's like, well, what is that guy doing? Is he going to try to get out? If he gets out, is he going to go to Vegas?
Yeah, by the way, don't kid yourself. Don't say Vegas would be out of it. They'll win the Stanley Cup, and then they'll say, I think this guy can help us win the next one, and they'll move somebody else.
William Carlson. Thanks for
goodbye.
coming out.
You got to take Hurdle. You got to take Hurdle's deal or something like that, right?
They would happily move off those 2. All right, speaking of Vegas, let's head there now. Here's our TSN Hockey Insider, Pierre LeBrun, joining us ringside. There he is, looking good as always. Pierre, what is your reaction to the reported demands of Dylan Larkin, that he wants out, but he wants to go to either Minnesota, Vegas, or Florida?
Yeah, I don't know that those are exactly the teams. Minnesota for sure is on his list.
Can't hear you.
I thought that was me.
No, it's all good. None of us can hear Pierre. We'll reset. And we'll make sure that we can get the audio going because I want to hear that answer. I think
he looks great too. Look at that.
Man, look at this guy. He looks
I don't even need any audio, and it just looks phenomenal.
Just leave him there. The Zambonis in the background. It's sexy as hell.
Looks great. All right, guys, let us know when we can do a test because we can't hear Pierre, so I don't know what to tell you, but we'll get back to him and we'll try to get more information.
You come back to this Larkin stuff, though. I think this is gonna be an ugly divorce here. Like, I don't see this as, Stevie Yzerman, by all accounts, seems pissed. And I just don't see this as going to be, hey, let's work in tandem to sort this out for you. Like, I just, if he's anything like Kelly McCrimmon, he might just say, you're at training camp or you're sitting out. Like, I
totally agree. I mean, I'd be willing to trade him because – listen, Larkin's not been pulling his weight at the biggest moments either.
Check his 5-on-5 goals last year. I don't think there was anything to write home about. Scores power play goals, but I read a tweet. Somebody's talking about his 5-on-5 production. he hasn't exactly been a part of the solution, so he's got to be part of the problem. And then it's like, check, please. And we've already gone through the rights, and sometimes guys want to change the scenery. But when you toss that one out there, I want to be moved. I want a different scenery.
Yeah.
And then it's just these three things, and it's like the places to be in the NHL. I would have a serious problem with that.
Yeah, that's not going to fly. There's no way.
That is not going to fly.
And my guess would be Yzerman will win that and say, you got to give me 3 or 4 more teams. Like, I'm not saying the whole league. You've got to no movement, no trade. Like, Larkin does have some power in this as well. But it can't just be those teams. It can't be. All right, we're going to give it another run here with Pierre. Pierre, I hope we can hear you. Go ahead on Dylan Larkin.
Well, you know what I was going to do?
Oh, you're kidding me.
I was going to move my lips.
We cannot hear
but not say anything.
This is a technical issue on our end. It's all good, Pierre. I
Just
guarantee you they can hear him on
bit.
TV. This happens all the time. It's only us who can't hear him. But, JP, Joe, you're going to have to reset and figure that out down the road. It's just not going to happen.
He looks amazing. We should just leave him there for 5 minutes and just keep talking.
It's a ratings boost just having him there.
It is.
Mr. Vegas.
It is.
That guy looks PV, like Pierre Vegas. Like, that is sickening.
You know
like,
why?
That's a great look on him.
Because it's beautiful out, and the Vegas pools would be open, so you can be poolside all day at
and
the
in
Cosmo.
Carolina.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's beautiful weather in Carolina as well, but, I mean, Vegas would be bumping right now,
I'd have to think so, for sure. All right, the Babcock news, the Larkin stuff, Struddy on that and more. We'll get into the Cup final, Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight. Jays with a series win, and some big news coming up. It sounds like Dylan Cease is going to pitch this Phillies series and Scherzer later in the week. So Scherzer Yankees Friday night, which means
5-man rotation is back.
All of a sudden the arms are starting to come back. The Jays a couple games below 500. They can get cooking here. It's all good. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and up on TSN 4.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, Overdrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you more ways to play your game your way. Big week for us. We're going to be at the RBC Canadian Open tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday. What a field, what a tourney it's going to be. The World Cup kicking off later this week. We'll be down there at Toronto Stadium on Friday. Canada, Bosnia, the boys are in town. It's phenomenal, man. The Yankees are in town later in the week. Jays with a big homestand. Phillies tonight. And the Cup final continues tomorrow down in Vegas. And we tried them over Skype, but now we're just going old school, right to the
Sorry
phone.
to disappoint everybody.
Yeah. That's on us.
Because, man, he looked gorgeous.
He looked phenomenal. I almost want just to still ringside Pierre LeBrun, our TSN Hockey Insider. Pierre, we'll give you a third chance to answer that Dylan Larkin question. Go ahead.
By the way, I'm not gonna lie. I look good.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, but no. Listen. Yeah, I mean, what's happened here is that Larkin's agent Pat Brisson, they sent over a very short list of teams to kick things off here in this process, and it's at a very delicate stage. I mean, you can imagine how tough that was to stomach for Steve Yzerman and the Red Wings. Minnesota for sure is on that list. Obviously, you got the Bill Guerin Team USA connection. Not to mention, is there a team that needs a center more than Minnesota in their eyes? I saw the report from Helene St. James that Vegas and Florida were also on there. I don't know 100% if that's accurate. I'm sure it is. Helene is a great reporter in Detroit. What I would say is two things. One, that I know that the initial list is populated with serious contenders, but also teams that don't have a whole lot to trade back. Number two, and I think you said this, Hayes, and you're bang on, my prediction, if it hasn't happened already, it will, that Steve Yzerman will go back to Larkin's camp and Pat Brisson and try to extend that list and say, if you really want this to work and to happen, then you got to work with us here. There's no question in my mind that if it hasn't already happened, it will. And the other thing, I wrote this last Friday in The Athletic. Just remember the last time someone put Steve Yzerman in a corner like this. It was 2014, Marty St. Louis asking out of Tampa. And at the time, he only had one team to work with. It was the New York Rangers. And he ends up getting 2 first-round picks and Ryan Callahan in his prime in return for Marty St. Louis, which worked out great for everyone. Marty St. Louis led the Rangers to the Cup final that year and got his wish and felt that he was treated great that way. But at the same time, Steve Yzerman made a hell of a trade. So I get that everyone thinks Detroit is really jammed up here, and obviously, they are at the outset here. But I wouldn't put it past Steve Yzerman to end up making a pretty good trade for his team here.
Well, the former head coach of the Detroit Red Wings is in the news, and that would, of course, be Mike Babcock, who I guess the Oilers and him have been talking, and Ryan Rishaug reporting that Babcock it's gone as far as him speaking with leadership, the leadership core of the Oilers. In other words, Connor McDavid, first and foremost. Is this basically a formality now that he's going to be the head coach? And if McDavid really wants it, what could possibly stop it?
Right. So, yeah, the Oilers do want to hire Mike Babcock. I don't think I can say it's a formality because the NHL and HLPA, as Greg's noted, are involved now because of how things ended in Columbus for Babcock. So there are some delicate conversations happening here. But the Oilers do want this. And I'm glad you brought that up with what Chaggy put out there. Like, I was surprised. Well, I shouldn't say surprised, but there were so many social media posts right after Dregs broke that story about people saying, how could they do this to Connor McDavid? Like, are people really that naive? Like, this kind of thing, for sure, as sources have confirmed to me as well, would have been run by the leadership group in that room. So you can absolutely know that the players are on board with this, that this is not being done to them, that they have had a voice in this. So I think that's important to point out, regardless of how anyone out there feels about it. So, and I think, it speaks to the fact that, I think that leadership group really wants to get back on track and they want to win. But obviously it would be a controversial hire for all the obvious reasons. No question about it. It comes with baggage.
So, Pierre, who exactly is signing off on this with the NHL and the NHLPA? Like, who's got to check the box and say, yeah, we're cool with this, you can hire him? Like, is it a bunch of players? Is it Gary? Is it, is it the PA head? Like, who's signing off to say this is going to go down or this can't happen?
Well, I think my interpretation of things is the NHL will take the lead on this process, but certainly in consultation with the NHLPA, because as you remember, O'Dog, what ended up ending things for Babcock in Columbus is that the NHLPA got very involved. And at the time, the idea was if he doesn't step down, then there's going to have to be an investigation. And in the end, as we know, Mike Babcock decided to step away before even coaching a game in Columbus. So what's a little gray to me, I guess, is since that never went ahead, what's going to happen here. But I think, I think what's going to happen is the NHLPA leadership will want to talk to the Oilers players and see how they feel about this. And then go from there. But the league, the NHL, would be taking the lead on this.
With Pierre LeBrun, our TSN hockey insider, Joe Pavelski, future head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Is that actually a possibility, Pierre? Where do things stand on that front?
I think it's happening.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility because it's been confirmed to me actually in the last few minutes that Pavelski is among those 5 remaining candidates that is scheduled for in-person interviews this week with the Toronto Maple Leafs. So we know Peter Laviolette is out, being the head coach in LA today, but Pavelski is among those 5 final candidates for the Toronto job, is what I've been told.
Okay, so what do you know of Pavelski that would lead to this? Because it's a very out of left field name, Pierre. He's never coached in the NHL.
No question. I was surprised by it. Now, listen, I will say I got to know Joe Pavelski over the years, all my playoff assignments with ESPN out in San Jose. And that dude can talk about the game forever. He's super bright, IQ through the roof. It's what allowed him to excel. Certainly wasn't his natural skating ability. The guy was so intelligent. And it reminds me a lot of Marty St. Louis in terms of the hockey IQ and how he thinks the game. So for sure, an out-of-box interview for the Leafs. I'm not ready to tell you whether or not he'll get it. I don't know that, but I guess Marty St. Louis would have paved the way for this, given the gamble that they took on him in Montreal and the fact that it's worked out brilliantly. That doesn't mean it's going to happen with everyone, but that's the only thing I can get myself to as to taking this kind of gamble.
Any outside the box other names in that potential 5? I mean, it seemed like you said Laviolette out of the mix, but is it kind of recycled coaches, or is it maybe a guy that's in the AHL type of thing?
I definitely know, and I think I tweeted this yesterday, but I never know what day it is here in Vegas. But the Leafs have spoken to more than 20 candidates when you go back to the start of this process, and I was told yesterday that some of them are very much also out of the box, not just Pavelski. Whether or not some of those out-of-box guys are left in this 5, I don't know. I know that Patrick Roy is still in this process, I'm told. I think Jay Woodcroft probably is as well, although I don't have that confirmed 100%. So there's some names there. We'll see where this goes. And at the end of the day, should the Leafs wait on Bruce Cassidy or not? Wait till this Cup final is over to see if Vegas allows them to talk to him or not. By the way, there's no guarantee Vegas will allow anyone to talk to him even after the Cup final. We don't know that. They have him under contract for another year and at $5 million. So we'll see what Vegas decides on that front.
Pierre, between Toronto and Edmonton, they're talking about a head coach, and it's almost like distraction stuff where it's like, look over here. But ultimately, both teams have roster issues because they're not good enough to even make the playoffs, let alone, or Edmonton got in, but they're just not good enough. Between the two teams, who do you think can make the greatest improvement before the start of the season? The Oilers or the Leafs?
Oh, that's a superb question, O'Dog. Let me think about that. I mean, it's so hard to predict because the next 3-4 weeks will decide everything, in terms of the moves that these two teams make. But I think Edmonton's still in a better position. You know, you got 97 and you got Draisaitl, and if they're on board with a Mike Babcock hire, we'll see if it actually happens. That means that you have your leadership group with the right frame of mind. I'm still unsure of where this all goes with Toronto and Austin Matthews. I think all signs are pointing towards Matthews wanting to stay put, but I don't think that's been communicated yet 100% from Matthews and his agent John Moldaver to John Chayka. I think that the next 3-4 weeks loom large in terms of what Toronto does to get Matthews to that decision, which I think will be his decision. I think he's staying. But I guess that's my way of answering O-Dog is I feel a little more certainty right now with what we know of the Edmonton roster, even though it's got holes, than I do about where Toronto's going to land.
All right, Pierre, we'll let you get back to it, buddy. Great seeing you there for a few minutes. We'll do it again soon. Thank you for this.
You look sexy, pal.
Well, and can I just add a quick note on the Mike Babcock
Yes.
thing? I just got a text sent to me while we were on air. So to O-Dog's question about how this works with the NHL and NHLPA, what I was just informed is that the NHLPA would need to tell the league that the players are prepared to let the Oilers move forward without a league investigation into the circumstances leading to what happened in Columbus. So the PA would need to tell the league that they, the PA, and therefore the players, are ready to let the Oilers move forward without an NHL investigation. So that remains to be decided.
Okay. Great info.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Pierre.
All right, guys. Sounds
Pierre
good.
LeBrun. So, in other words, the Players Association is going to call their best player, the guy who just won his fifth Ted Lindsay, and tell McDavid, we're launching a review on the guy that you want to be the head coach. Because there's no
that's not
way
gonna happen.
Babcock's in the running unless 97 is, I think, advocating for him to be the coach.
Exactly.
Advocating would be my guess.
Yeah. And one small note on Larkin. I wonder if anybody's been sitting in the weeds waiting for somebody to pull the trigger on something, and then they're just like, you wonder if there's any after, like, anybody follows, like, say, oh, he did it. Thank God somebody broke the ice, because now I'm just gone.
Listen,
Get me out of here.
It started with Tkachuk. Like, Matthew Tkachuk made a choice to go to Florida, forced himself to Florida effectively, and made a remarkable career decision. And Mitch Marner did the same. He didn't get. He was a free agent. Mitch was free to go there. He didn't force his way out, but he had his eyes set on Vegas. It sounds like a year before he even got to free agency.
Oh, to be a fly on the wall on those Miami Olympic gold medal celebrations.
Yes, it does seem like a lot of the Americans are like, oh, Billy Guerin and Quinn Hughes and Brock Faber and
Vegas,
Matt Boldy.
Florida,
Oh, Matt Hannafin and Eichel are down there. Matthew Tkachuk's down there. But there's only so many people, and there's a hard cap. There's only so many spots in a hard cap. Not everyone can go there. More on this into the next hour. OverDrive continues up on YouTube Live.
This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Hour 2 OverDrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you more ways to play your game your way. Brian Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan. We're up on YouTube Live later tonight. This show can be streamed up on Crave. Big news for the Jays. Dylan Cease back tomorrow. He will start tomorrow. Max Scherzer back on Friday. Al Kirk could return by Friday.
Wow.
There is a chance.
DHing and then catching Wednesday, Thursday.
Yes, down in the minors. He's still rehabbing. But there's a chance when the Yankees roll through town, Alejandro Kirk is back with the Blue Jays. So that is a significant development.
I wonder if he pulls a Ryu and just in Buffalo and just does his little 5-inning thing and then just wheels out onto I-95 there, grab some food, Uber back, and get after it.
It's possible. Anything's possible. I'm sure he's very comfortable down there. So, yeah, that was, a big series win for them. The bats came alive. Again, Ernie Clements got more hits than anyone else in the American League. Guy's on fire right now, Ernie Clements. So it's great to see that. And more on that later in the hour. Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight. We're tracking towards the RBC Canadian Open. Phenomenal field. Tracking towards Canada-Bosnia on Friday on TSN. And we got a lot going on in the NHL. We haven't even talked about the actual Cup final. Which I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't care really who wins the series. But when Carolina storms back down 4-0 to tie it, not winning that is so sickening. Yeah, it
and in the fashion they did.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Off the boards and off a goalie. Like, that was a crazy comeback. Because Roddy Brindamore was so mad. It was like he was the only guy ready for that game. But I want to throw a question out. And just the way it ended, like off the backboard and in the net, I want to ask you guys, if the Carolina Hurricanes had elite goaltending in this series, are they leading the series?
Yes. I mean, yes.
I think it's just a yes.
Yes, it is.
Freddie, I know he's got stuff going on. Like Claude Lemieux is his agent, and he's having a tough go of it. But it's just he just didn't seem to have, his energy is not right, and it shows, and it's been costly. And I think if Carolina had elite goaltending, because Carter Hart hasn't exactly been mind-blowing. And by the way, Georgie McPhee is a completely different story up there in the stands. Dude, Georgie's
nuts.
Yeah.
He's like grabbing the glass and he's like squeezing and making his face is like
he's a roller coaster, man.
I love watching Georgie. Like, Kelly is so calm, and even the owner's calm, and Georgie just wants to rip something off of its moorings.
He is so intense, though. That's the thing. Like, he is. I love the guy. Like, keep in mind,
he's a great guy.
He's not a big guy, but apparently pound for pound, he was one of the toughest guys who ever played the game. And, like, you look at it, we know Kelly McCrimmon, friend of the show, but also we played, or, you played with his brother. His brother coached me. Like, the McCrimmon family, they're hockey guys. They're just hockey guys, lifers, right? And Foley's like rich guy who do anything he can to win.
Yeah.
Hayes, you get fired up about the helicopter.
I got to give credit where it's due, man. The guy's a great owner.
But McPhee is an emotional man, and you just see him like he wants to be on the ice. Like, he wants to attack somebody.
I honestly thought, and it wouldn't have shocked me, if he grabbed the seat he was sitting in and ripped it off of its hinges and threw it over the balcony.
Yeah. Dude, if they lost that game in overtime, I think
he would have ripped his seat off its hinges and thrown it over.
Possibly being pushed into the rink in the Hannibal Lecter thing for Game 4. Like, they're like, you got to be.
Dude, if Georgie gets wheeled in for the next game in a Lecter mobile, It's a Lecter pulley with a mask.
Right. You have to be restricted for Game 4 because I think he would have gone nuts if they lost that game in overtime. Like literally jumped onto the ice, started chasing towards around or something.
That was a roller coaster game.
Crazy game.
Like
Crazy
that
game.
For Cobb and Marner has the penalty shot to just dagger them.
That's the amazing thing, Noodles, that there was about to be a story. Mitch Marner had the game of his life. He had one of the all-time great Stanley Cup games.
One of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest games of all time.
Truly one of the all-time great Stanley Cup final games. And then there was a chance, and this is where the Leaf mojo was there. Him missing the penalty shot was going to become a story of, well, if he scored that.
Was it true what he said when he said he didn't know they changed goalies?
How could you not know that was
that's not a serious comment. I thought, was that like a legit quote from him?
That's what he said after the game. Yes, he goes, I didn't realize that they had pulled Freddie or that Freddie was out of the game.
I know, but you have to. Everybody knows that. Like
you're looking down,
I didn't think that was something.
Got the glove on the other hand.
Yes, he's a righty. It was. I couldn't believe Mitch said that after the game, but he did. But Marner had 10 shots on goal.
He was unreal.
Night. Like he was all over the ice. And here's another thing, because I'm begging Leaf fans, and I'm seeing it online, and I understand it. And we got Struddy coming up here in a moment, so I know what's coming. You got to stop taking the bait on the trolling, right? You got to stop taking the bait because these stats are so outrageous now. And someone tweeted out the stats that he had 10 shots on goal in Game 3. He had 10 the whole series against Florida last year. Like, it was something crazy like that. And he's putting up numbers. Everything's breaking his way. And listen, goals are going off sticks and in. And again, the anti-Leaf mojo of Vegas is they blow the 4-0 lead and then they get the bounce and win in overtime. That would never happen for the Leafs.
Yeah, there's goons and just stiffs and others. Well, we got one on the line probably soon that just love the trolling.
Yes.
Like Patty Maroon was just giving it to me about
this is what I was going to say before we get Struddy on. Because, again, a big part of the reaction is Vegas is just simply better than the Leafs. And I'm not going to argue against that top to bottom and the way that they operate.
Can't.
He's playing, though, with William Karlsson and Brett Howden. Let's not pretend he's on a line with McDavid and Draisaitl. Okay?
Right.
He played in his prime in the playoffs with Matthews and Hyman on his line. He had better line mates in Toronto. His whole career he did, for the most part. Karlsson's a really good player. He's been injured all year, basically. Really,
that should almost be more of a credit to him.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. He deserves a ton of credit. It's almost a shot at him saying, well, it's because Vegas is yes, Vegas collectively is a better team. He's not playing 5-on-5 with better players. He's not. And yet he's still doing this somehow. So I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Like he's the guy's on fire. Here's Jason Strudwick joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. What's happening, Struddy?
Not much, buddy. What a playoffs we're seeing in both the NHL and the NBA. I can't wait for this game tonight. Yeah. This NBA game, and it's been. I don't know if you guys have been watching it, but it's been so good. Really
Phenomenal.
Good basketball.
Phenomenal every single night. Phenomenal. I mean, Vegas. Is it like? Are they clearly in the driver's seat in your opinion? Like, where do you stand on that, Strud?
Well, I mean, you look at they had a 4. I'm not gonna lie, they had a 4-0 lead. I went out to walk the dog, and I saw all of a sudden it was 4-3. Pretty long walk. My dog's in good shape, like its owner, and I sprinted back to the house. I'm like, what the hell just happened? I thought it was over, and so I sprint back to the house, catch up because you have it on whatever PPR. And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And then you go into overtime. You have the other goalie in there. And I really think Vegas needs to win that game because if Carolina comes back now twice in a row, I mean, that's got at some level kind of rattle you, even though they're a veteran team. So I think it was really important for them to win that game. But that being said, I mean, Carolina's never out of a game. And, Rod the Bod finally mixed up the lines, and it didn't really matter. Like, they all kind of play with each other because they all play so similar, boys.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a crazy third period. Just like the game before, same thing. Carolina, Vegas had game 2, and they're in their palm of their hands. And that one got away from them, and Seth Jarvis scores in overtime. In terms of the goaltending, And Noodles, you jump in here too. Like,
Sure.
is it if Freddie's capable of playing, is it guaranteed you'd go to Freddie Anderson?
Absolutely. Go ahead, Noodles, but no way.
Well,
Go ahead.
I think it's Freddie's net. I do. I think it's Freddie's net how well he's played. The difference is Bussy came in and played very well, and he's a righty goaltender, and you guys can speak to it. When you're used to shooting on goaltenders who always catch with their left hand, and all of a sudden it looks different in there. I think he jammed up a few of them, and he's very aggressive. Like, he made the game-winning goal's a bad bounce. It happens. But Bussy, it's not like it's a massive drop-off. I joke, Kiprusoff to McLennan. This is like Bussy had an unbelievable – he had 31 wins for them this year. He was
electric.
Unbelievable. So, I think it's Freddie's net, but maybe a shorter leash because Bussy showed that he can do it.
I'm going with Bussy, boys. I'm putting Bussy in there. I don't think Freddie's absolutely killed it in this final. And I don't know that Carter Hart has either. There's been a lot of goals going in. Can't put them all at the goaltender's feet. But I'm putting Bussy in there just to change it up a bit, a little bit different look. The way he plays is different, as Noodles just talked. And I think you try to shake it up a little bit. I mean, I felt Bussy was going there just to, spell Anderson and give him a break. Well, he maybe had one of the bigger saves of the series, even though it didn't matter in the end. But the breakaway save on Marner, and I think Marner was a little bit off seeing the guy, with a different hand. So I'm going with Bussy to Tuesday if I'm Rod the Bod.
I'm going with Bussy. I don't care if he's got 2 blockers on. I just want to. I just want a different vibe. Because if Freddie goes in and has a performance, I just don't think for this next game, I don't think you can risk Freddie having a period like he did or having a subpar performance. You have to bank on Bussy going in there, having a different vibe, a different energy, the team in front of him playing differently, and you can get back in the series. You would just hate yourself if Freddie went in there and had a subpar performance and you're like, why did we buy back into that? And just to say that, in the past performances, it's very risky, and there's a lot of talk with the goalie coach and everybody involved. But I would put Brandon Bussy in the net, like hands down.
Well, it's a huge decision to be made. Like it's a make or break call. It's not changing up your fourth line. Like, it's the goalie, and Freddie has been so good and very predictable throughout the playoffs up until. The other night. Now, again, I didn't love Freddie's game. Carolina just stopped playing in the second period effectively. How many breakaways did they give up and breakdowns and odd man rushes? It was brutal. Like, they were asleep in the second period. But this is what comes with the tandem goaltending. Right? It never really leaves you. Like, it's always hanging around you. Who do we go with? How much do we trust it? It's a dangerous game, man.
You don't want it. You're like, I want one of these guys to just take the reins and it never come into question. But it seems like more often than not, you get to a certain point, and every scenario is different. And this one's at the very final stage. But now they're asking themselves, what guy are we going to go with?
Well, and the other thing I'll add in, too, is maybe there's a chance they see something behind the scenes that Freddie's getting – broken down a little bit, a little tired. You mentioned, the mental duress he's going through with the Claude Lemieux and him being very close with him, that type of stuff. There's a lot of different factors that go into it, but it'll be interesting, Struddy, to see what happens, who comes skating out Tuesday night. But more topical, which I don't know if you've heard, but the Edmonton Oilers might be looking at a different type of coach. Have you gotten a call from Mike Babcock asking if he can live in your basement?
Yeah, come on, Struddy. Help a guy out.
Yeah, I've got a gym in the basement. He and I could go in the mornings, coffee and some curls, I'm not going to lie, guys. I got a couple texts this morning about this, and I was very surprised for a couple of reasons. The first and the most obvious, I believe one of the insiders reached out to him earlier some time ago and said, no, I'm retired. I believe that's, if I remember correctly. And the second thing is his last 2 stops have ended in unique fashions and more for things that happen maybe away from the ice and on the ice. So it is – I'm surprised. I'm really surprised by this. I didn't think he would be in the conversation at all. And, now you have Laviolette heading to Vegas, it sounds like. I'm just really surprised, and I'd be very interested to be in some of the group chats that the Oilers players have zipping around on their iPhone 27s or wherever you're at now.
Well, yeah, and there's everyone knows in a group on a team, there's group chats within the group chat, right? And maybe the 23, 24 guys group chat, there's some guys saying, Babs, what are we thinking here? The group chat that matters is the McDavid-Draisaitl group chat. That's the one that actually exists.
Yeah.
I would throw Hyman in there, too. I'm not kidding.
And Bouchard. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, they're not at the same
level. But you're right.
As those
you're
two
right.
Guys.
Those two,
nowhere close.
they
to
have
those
their
two.
own group chat.
Yes, they're on a dock up in Muskoka probably right now saying, are we doing this with Babcock? If so, then we'll text Hyman, and then we'll let Bouchard know. I don't know where Darnell Nurse falls into play because he's in the group, but I don't know if he's going to be on the team in the future. So I don't know where that stands. But let's say it is going to be Babcock, Struddy. How much does this improve their chances of winning a Stanley Cup, in your opinion?
He hasn't had much success in the last decade plus, right? When's the last time that he had a deep push with a team? Now, some of that, I guess, could be the makeup of that team or the roles, the teams he took on, trying to get them up and running, such as, with the Leafs there. So I'm just, I honestly, I'm almost at a loss of words because you're looking at it, and it's a real shock. It's a real shock. And I have to kind of digest it and think about the way it look. And I think of the players first. What do they think? His technique, it feels like, from what I've heard from players that played from, it's very direct and very at times confrontational. That this is how we play, this is how we do it, and it feels like when you look at some of the names the Oilers have been talking to, or thinking of Bruce Cassidy or a Laviolette, and now if it is indeed Babcock, it's a very straightforward. This is how we play, and there's very little bend in that style. And I'm not suggesting that Woodcroft or Knobloch didn't have that. I don't think they had it in the same level that these guys have. So, it is a really interesting hire. Then I look at who are the assistant coaches. Is DJ Smith automatically in if he's out in LA? It is a real bold move if this indeed does happen.
Well, there's the potential for, I would say, equal, if not more, boldness in Toronto if they hire Joe Pavelski, who is an American that played in San Jose and Dallas, has no connection to Toronto, has never coached in a professional rank at any capacity, assistant coach, head coach, nothing. And yet, by all accounts, he's in the running as one of the last 4 or 5 guys chasing down the
I think
Maple
he'll
Leafs
get it.
gig.
I think he'll get it.
And the O-Dog thinks he's going to get it.
Wow.
I do.
Put yourself in the skates of Austin Matthews, Strud, because you guys have a similar skill set.
Yeah.
How would
Better
you react if you get the news that Joe Pavelski's your new head coach?
So this I've given a lot of thought to. So I love Pavelski as a player. I really like him. And it sounds like he's been coaching his son, much like Marty St. Louis. So Montreal brought Marty St. Louis in at a different time in their organization than where Toronto's at. Montreal was clearly in a building stage, right? And they were kind of trying to get off the mat. So it allowed Marty St. Louis time to evolve, to grow, and become a coach that he is now. That took his team a long ways, and he's improved as a coach and learned as a coach along the way. This team in Toronto, I don't think they're at that spot. Or Austin Matthews doesn't want to be at that spot. He doesn't want to take a number of years to get up to the point where they're pushing for Montreal, and his contract situation would suggest that he's probably, looking to move ahead. So if Pavelski comes in, is he able to jump a lot of levels that Marty St. Louis had to do and become, the coach that can help build, but also take this team deep with a high-level player on their team? And that is what Austin has to be thinking about because, Pavelski was a hell of a player, maybe one of the best tipping players we've ever seen in the NHL. And smart, and he was, late rounder. Like he was even drafted after Noodles, which is getting pretty late in the draft. The lights are off, but I think the message you're sending to Austin Matthews is one I'd be really interested to see. How do you sell that to him? Say, no, this is our guy. Well, is he a head coach? Well, he's going to be a head coach. Well, I want to win quickly, not in a few years.
Yeah.
Well,
like, do you
know
think
what?
him being
Let
an
me add on
American?
to that.
Go ahead, Noodles.
Let me add on to that just quickly. The only thing I could think of for reference, when I heard Pavelski, you know that Austin is close with Patrick Marleau and Jumbo Joe. And I wonder if you did some, you do some back channeling and go, what's this guy all about? Like, because I the Marleau Thornton of being mentors for Marner, being mentors for Matthews early on in their careers, I believe they all are still pretty close. I remember talking to Joe Thornton about it a while ago, and maybe that's a scenario where they're like, this guy would be a great coach or a great person. He'd be able to help you. I'm just trying to think outside the box here. What would be the correlation or connection to make it work, right?
Yeah. And again, I don't know if it matters, but it seems to be more prevalent in the talking points of what's going on around the league on both sides of the border since the Olympics. The fact that he's an American, I don't know. Does that, again, and this isn't about hiring Austin Matthews coach. This is the Maple Leafs we're talking about. He's got to coach the whole team. He's got to make sure it works for everybody. And Strud, you bring up a great point. Like their ambition is to be competitive next year, make the playoffs. That was not the plan in Montreal. They knew they weren't going to be any good for a couple of years. So it is a much different level of expectation and pressure. But it feels like, to me, with like what the Leafs, and this seems to be the philosophy probably from all the way up, I'm guessing Keith Pelley, is, they went with conventional wisdom. Craig Berube, a lifer, go get him. Brad Treliving, he's been around for 20 years, get him. Babcock, that was the obvious guy 11 years ago, go get him. Now they're like, we're going to do the complete opposite. We're going to get John Chaika, who no one was talking about, and we're going to give him an opportunity, and we're going to get Joe Pavelski, because it goes against everything that you would expect the Leafs to do. And I don't know if that's going to be the right play. I'm intrigued by it. Feels like there's no middle ground, in my opinion. It's either going to be a grand slam and be great or an absolute disaster. Like, that's what I see.
I agree. I don't know if there's middle ground with that scenario.
Yeah. It's one or the other, Strud.
Well, absolutely. And so let's assume that they're going to draft Gavin McKenna. Could Pavelski help that player? 100% he can. Marty St. Louis and Pavelski are both really smart players, and they I think Pavelski can become a really good coach, but he's not there now. So what does Austin want? I just try to, and I wasn't even close to him, but I'm like, I want to win when I get older. And this guy, he's running out of time here. So does this kind of say, well, maybe we're going to move on from Austin. We're going to move him. Gavin's going to come in. We'll keep Nylander. We'll try to add some assets, and we'll let Pavelski and company kind of help these guys grow along. I don't know. It seems very bold, and as surprised I am about hearing Babcock's name being attached to the Oilers. I'm really surprised about Pavelski, and for different reasons, obviously. But it is. I mean, Keith Pelley, if you're trying to be different, it's different. Doesn't mean it's wrong. I just wonder, for the timing and where your team is, would that be the right move and message to Austin Matthews and company?
Yeah, it's very, very interesting to see how this is going to play out. Again, shout out to Connor McDavid. He won the Ted Lindsay this year. That's his 5th in his career. The Ted Lindsay is voted on by the players, and I guess he was at his golf course, and they presented. It was a really cool video. His parents were there, his wife, his brother, friends.
Very cool stuff. The Vasilevsky one was very cool.
Yeah.
The stuff they do with the videos is
They've
unreal.
done a really good job. But I had someone, ask if the interpretation is, and I'm curious how you feel about it, Strud, that means he didn't win the Hart because they only presented him with one. Like, do you think they'll do a separate video for the Hart? Like, hey, surprise, Ted Lindsay, and 2 days later they get him again with the Hart? Or do you think that would indicate that he didn't win the Hart?
Yeah.
Well, what? I'll say this. I like the way that, I don't want an award show, right? I don't. I think this is fine, the way they're doing it, and it's maybe more intimate, right? Because you are seeing different people giving it to it, and kind of see that raw emotion that maybe you wouldn't see on stage all the time. So I'm fine with this. I know some people want it. I don't mind it this way. I don't know if he's going to win the Hart Trophy. I don't know that you do both at once. You probably want to have a bit more legs, but lining up another, hey, Connor, let's go golfing again, 3:00 on Thursday. How many surprises can he have? And he's a pretty wily guy. Now, is he going to win it? I don't know. I mean, I really don't know how to call it. I think this is as close a Hart Trophy race as we've seen in some time.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it obviously could be him, McKinnon, Kucherov. I wouldn't be surprised if any of them won it. I think they all have an incredible case to make. All right, Strut. Great stuff, buddy. Thank you for doing this. We'll do it again soon.
Can't wait. Enjoy that basketball game tonight, guys. It has been so good. It has been
phenomenal.
so good.
Cannot wait.
Talk
Enjoy it,
to you guys
Strutty.
later.
There he is, Jason Strudwick, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. It's time to Toyota. Check out the Toyota Tacoma and Toyota Tundra pickup trucks, both available as hybrids. Maple Toyota near Canada's Wonderland on the Maple Auto Mall. That would be kind of funny if they like back-to-back surprises on McDavid.
Did it again?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
like,
don't you think it should be something different if say it's like, I think it's quite known that he's got a place up north in Ontario. Maybe somebody drives up in a boat or something, like just something different.
Nah, you got to
right?
go like off the charts. Like, I don't know how you could ever plan this, but just convenience store. Oh, what's your bill? How you want this thing? The Hart Trophy? And like, that's the only way you get them now, because anything with family around or buddies, golfing, it's just.
What would be the most outrageous? Like he's out for dinner with his wife and a mariachi band comes in, like, like something.
Yeah.
There could be that should be one of your lists. Top 5 most outrageous.
I like that idea.
But the thing is, guys, it used to be a time, excuse me, where when you won the Ted Lindsay, it was almost a slam dunk. You won the Hart. I don't think that's the case anymore. Yeah. I mean, Jamie, you played with Pronger when he won the Hart. I think Jaromir Jagr won the Ted Lindsay that year. There's been a bunch of different scenarios where a guy wins the Ted Lindsay, and then I always thought there was a trend where it was a kind of, you win the Ted Lindsay, like that's the guy that's going to win the Hart. That's not always the case.
You would think it should be, but the thing is,
one's voted on by your peers, the players, and the other one is by media.
But keep in mind with Prongs, his peers hated him because they hated playing against him. Like nobody loved Chris Pronger. They loved playing with him. I loved playing with him because he was ferocious. But guys are like, I'm not voting for that lunatic. So I think that's where I felt like the disconnect. I think whether it was McKinnon, I think McKinnon took home both. Wasn't that recently a couple of years back?
Yeah, but McDavid's been on the opposite side of it, where he's won the Ted Lindsay and not won the Hart. And I think that's possibly happened a couple times.
Did Matthews? What did Matthews his year? Did he win them both?
I don't know if he.
Dude, he looked that up. Like the last 5 or 6 years, the Ted Lindsay Hart connection.
Well, because McDavid's got 5 Ted Lindsays now, and I believe 3 Harts. Now, if he wins the Hart this year, then that would only be once that's happened. Yeah. But this could be the second time, at least for him.
I saw something where 40-something people, I don't know if this to be fact, but 40 people didn't vote for, like, the coaching award, like something like that. Like, it was ridiculous. A bunch of people didn't get their votes in. I don't know. Really? I thought I saw that, which I find to be you lose your voting privilege if you don't get a vote in for that.
I'm not sure. I mean, the only one we've got left, though, is the Hart. Right? Vasilevsky won the Vezina, and Ted Lindsay going to McDavid. So I would think the Hart comes out in the next couple of days, maybe before the game tomorrow night. So we'll see. Best bets still to come. Jays back in action tonight. Game 3 of the NBA Finals this evening. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and up on YouTube Live.
the greatest show on earth takes over Canada.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Just keep it safe with me. Anything you say will
Just got a note, Jamie, from our buddy that we used to work with, G Unit. 59 of the 99 qualified voters actually cast their votes for the Jack Adams this year, which is just like, sorry, make it public and you lost your right to. That is embarrassing. Embarrassing.
I honestly think there was a glitch in the system too, because I was a voter for the other stuff, the awards, and I think there was people that were supposed to get it that didn't get it, all of that type of stuff. I actually, like, when you mentioned that, got me thinking, like, oh, who did I vote for in that? I have to go back and take a look. But wouldn't somebody documenting the information just make a phone call and say, by the way, who do you vote for? We don't have the information. 100%. And I actually got a lot of, not blowback, but I had some people reaching out going, John Cooper, like, is that a legacy pick? Like, what do you – and I felt bad because I thought Ray did a great job explaining of how John Cooper had a great season, 11 new D, they had injuries, guys who had down seasons. And then people are like, well, the Vezina goalie, Vezina winner was his goalie. Name me a great goaltender or name me a great coach.
It's a pretty good point, though. It is a pretty valid point, is it not?
And people going, why is Bednar not there? Why is Marty St. Louis? And the thing is, you can make an argument for 7 or 8 guys this season. Dan Muse in Pittsburgh. Nobody saw Pittsburgh making the playoffs. Rick Tocchet in Philadelphia.
Lindy Ruff.
Joel Quenneville in Anaheim.
People are bent out of shape
Lindy Ruff in Buffalo.
That's the one.
They are really bent out of shape.
And I understand why. Because history would suggest the team that was horrendous and comes out of nowhere and has a magical year, that guy wins it.
Dude, look at the point total differential, the fashion in which they turned it around. People in Buffalo think Lindy Ruff should have won, but for all you guys that are in your basement or you're in the media in Buffalo and you're pissed, Ray Ferraro.
It's a legitimate case to make that Lindy Ruff did a phenomenal job this year.
I'm just saying, if you're one of the people in your basement that are outraged that John Cooper won, Ray Ferraro, who's known as the best color guy in the game, he voted for John Cooper. So just be quiet and chew on it and move on. Everyone takes offense to all this stuff. It's like, what do you – like, it's just the guy won. A bunch of people voted for the guy to win. Deal with it and move on.
He did a great job. He's a great coach. It's never about – that's not what it is. It's like the Hall of Fame. It's never about the people that get in. It's the ones that didn't. That's always the way the reaction chain works.
I know, but it seems like in these times of social media, it's like people that just they're so pissed. It's like, how are you that pissed?
Well,
like whenever I read something, it's like, oh, it's like a newspaper. Oh, that guy won the Jack Adams. Next page, it's like, good for him. I'll text him. Great job.
Yeah. But
people are incensed. Hayes.
It's because this league is turning into the haves and the have-nots. Tampa's won their 2 cups. They go to the playoffs every year. Kucherov probably going to win a Hart. Like, that's the thing. He may win the Hart, and the Vezina went to Vasilevsky. So you get the best player and the best goalie and the best coach. But if you're
so what, Hayes? So Lindy Ruff didn't win the Jack Adams, so it takes away from the greatness of their turnaround?
That's not the point. I'm just saying, if I'm in Buffalo, Buffalo has been an outpost in the league for 15 years. They have been mocked. They have been ridiculed. They have been pushed aside. Like, go stand over there and play your 82 games and leave people alone. That's how people have looked at Buffalo. And then they have the most magical season. They win the toughest division in the league. Toughest division forever was Tampa and Florida and Toronto and Boston. And, hey, Ottawa's coming. Look out for the Habs. They win the division, and their guy doesn't win the Jack Adams. So I understand the reaction. They're like, oh, why not Tampa again? They got 2 Cubs. Cooper's the head coach of Canada. They got Vasilevsky. They got Kucherov. Give him the coach of the year. Go ahead. Like, that's why there's that reaction. I don't get a sense there's a reaction in Pitt. It's like, hey, we got Sid. We've won all these cups. We had Lemieux. All right, Danny Muse didn't win it. What are you going to do? Get off, try to win it next year. Who cares? Buffalo's very different, clearly. because of their
sensitive,
recent
too.
history. Of course. I
know,
understand
but,
why they're pissed.
Maybe Lindy Ruff would be pissed, but members of the media are the same people that are putting you just said putting them in the corner saying you stink, play your 82 games and then get lost because we hate you. And then a year later they're like, I can't believe the coach didn't win the Jack Adams.
But that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. It's not that Cooper isn't a phenomenal coach or didn't do a great job. He did. He was great. I understand why he won. But
you know what? It just I had somebody say to me right away, legacy pick. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? Well, he's never won it before. That's the thing. He never
he's never won
career,
he never has. He never has won the
That's
Jack Adams.
So people are like, okay, now this is your year.
Yeah.
Where Jared Bednar, his team almost lapped the field. And again, Lindy Ruff, you go right down the list. I'm trying to find out if I voted or not. Now it rattles me that a bunch of people didn't vote. I wonder if I'm one of them that never got the ballot.
If it gets added, imagine that. Calls for an investigation and Noodles.
I sewered my own guy. The guy was hung over somewhere on the road and forgot to get on his computer.
Shame on me, but I know for a fact I'm always on top of that stuff. Like, believe me, I do.
I know you. There's no way you'd miss that unless there was a technical difficulty.
I just don't know if I received.
What you got to do is you got to expose the people that didn't do it, and you're never doing it again. Well, me and Hayes, get me and Hayes involved.
I would put up my hand and say, if I was sent something and I didn't do it, I would say then I'm disqualifying myself. Shame on me.
Okay.
But I don't know if I know in past years because the broadcasters do them. I've done it. And I voted, and I had a list put together this year, and I did my research. And I might have done it and not paid attention because people have asked me, who did you vote for the Hart? Who did you vote for the Norris, all of that type of stuff. I had to go back and try and find, because the list you put in a while ago, right?
I know. There's no way you would have missed that, but I hear you. So, I mean, anything is possible with the
thing is, the fact that you said like 30 to 40 people, there's no way that 30 to 40 people just flushed it. Yeah. That's the crazy part. I think maybe there was because there's a law firm that sends you these official things. You've got to follow up and you've got to register it. Like it's not just scratch it on a Insta, a Post-it and take a picture of it and send it. Like it's a legal process.
Imagine if one of the guys barking in Buffalo didn't get his vote in for Lindy Ruff, and it came out that he was one of the guys. The Golf Report, driven by Subaru. With a Subaru, you get more standard features than you'd expect and great lease and finance offers you won't want to miss. Hurry into your local Subaru dealer today. Shout out to JT Poston. What a win, right? He was in the Canadian Open. Now he's out of it because he got himself a win. He's into the U.S. Open. But Poston with a win. And you want to talk underpant cam and it getting carried away. Nelly Korda, when she hit her ball yesterday on 18.
Oh, my
She was putting out for the U.S. Open, and she's on 18 at Riviera. She hits a phenomenal drive, a phenomenal second shot. She left her putt short. It was a lag putt, but it was like 2 feet,
2.5
inches.
feet. Yeah.
And she healed the putt. The underpant cam on Nelly off the charts after it hit her club. She thought she missed it.
She did. She was almost semi in disbelief and embarrassed. She was like, "Oh my God!" And then thank God that went in because if that missed, her mental state going into any kind of playoff, and I don't know if the women's are like a full 18-hole playoff like the men, but she would have been a disaster and so mad at herself.
You wouldn't be able to recover from that. Like an inside 3-foot putt. That's Nelly Korda. That's the number one player in the world.
God, is she good, man. Her ball striking. I think she's honestly got. Brandon Chambly described her performance this weekend as the greatest from men's or women's, like scrambling up and down tournament from any men or women he's ever seen. She is so good, dude.
Outstanding. I was watching it yesterday. Like Riviera as a backdrop. It was an unbelievable tournament. Dude. Charlie Hall was in the mix. It was a great tournament. Nelly's as good as it gets. And
Nelly's team sends out clips of like her practice routine. Like her golf swing is just so good.
Pure butter.
Tailor-made, by the way, dialed in,
top to bottom,
head to toe, tailor-made clubs, and completely dialed in.
Yeah, she is. But she almost missed that on 18. Like it was Noodles. Owen and I have been in it for $20 Nassau games. You hit a putt like that, your heart sinks for the U.S. Open, she would have passed out on the green, I think, if she missed that thing.
Just watching the replay there, that was just
terrifying.
The toilet bowl. It was just on the outside.
I would have loved to seen Hazy be left-handed with tight white pants on with that putt and a camera like a drone underneath your shorts.
I would be terrified of that putt. I would have missed that putt. But I'm not a professional. I'm not Nelly Korda.
Dude,
if you put me in that situation,
scratch golfers would have missed that putt.
Yes, because it's as nerve-wracking as you can get. The whole
to
place
win
is clear.
your whole life is just focused on one thing. Like, if I make this, I win the U.S. Open.
Yeah, at Riviera of all places.
But if she misses, do you think she would have just fell down like?
It would have been devastating.
shark?
You talk about like a
Yes.
career changer. That thing, like lipping out and going in, is like career changing. And she's one of the greatest female players of all time. Because if she misses that and loses in a playoff, God knows what happens to her career.
Yes, it'd be sickening.
Like that could be the beginning of a downward spiral where
Big time. Big time.
God knows what
Greg
happens.
Norman, she would
OverDrive
have fallen down.
PGA Picks brought to you by TaylorMade. Feel the straight distance, feel the forgiveness, and feel the confidence as you step into every shot. Learn more about the new QI Max irons at TaylorMadeGolf.ca. Again, none of us had JT post them. My main man, Tommy Fleetwood, I had him. And Tommy he had to bogey, I think it was 16, and fall off the lead, and he just couldn't close. He had it again, but he's in the field at the Canadian Open. Tommy's up here. Cannot wait for that.
I'm bringing him a bag of Peter Millar clothes. I
Yes.
can't watch it anymore. He's wearing pro shop clothes from every tourney the guy goes to.
I know. We'll get him.
He's like
back
a
out.
rich guy from Europe that comes over and just says, I don't have any stuff. I'm buying everything in the pro shop. Let's go.
Yeah, Rodney Dangerfield. And as for the Lincoln Cup, I guess that's an announcement too. Team O-Dog ended up winning the Lincoln Cup. We talked about it a lot, the build-up. Went into we actually both played, all of us played okay. Like, O was really, really good. We played Ernie's ball 9 times off the tee. Like, he hit the ball 320. But
Dude, the guy hits a 2 hybrid, 285.
yeah, he mashes the golf ball. And he plays like Ludwig. He's so quick. He steps right up and he hits. No practice, no anything.
I love it.
PGA Picks brought to you by TaylorMade. Feel the straight distance, feel the forgiveness, and feel the confidence as you step into every shot. Learn more about the new QI Max irons at TaylorMadeGolf.ca. All right, best bets coming up. Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Jays Phillies tonight. A lot of positive news on the Jays injury front as well. Cease on the mound tomorrow. Scherzer later in the week. Alejandro Kirk could be back as of Friday. So a lot of things moving in their direction. Now they got to catch a heater here and get cooking, man. It starts with the Phillies in town, a really good team. Yankees in town on Friday. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
The WNBA, Sun versus Tempo, Wednesday on TSN.
All right, we'll get to our best bets here in a few moments. It's been a crazy day today, right? We're waiting for the game tonight. Can't wait, obviously, for Game 3 of the NBA Finals this evening, which is going to be bedlam. Just the crowd.
What a scene.
The Knicks are up 2-0.
Yeah.
Trump's going to be there. It's just going to be crazy. We're prepping, obviously, for the RBC Canadian Open. It's the longest day in golf. People are trying to qualify for the U.S. Open all over the place, which is kind of wild.
Dude, some really good players are like wheeling around, walking in shorts for 36 to try to get in.
Grinding. They're at Lambton in Toronto.
Crazy.
And grinding, trying to get in. And then we got Jays Phillies tonight. We got Game 4 of the Cup Final tomorrow. But the Leafs are in pursuit of a coach. Peter Laviolette's on his way to L.A., and Mike Babcock appears to be on his way to Edmonton. Like, it is a wild scenario out there. Something to chew on, brought to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar. Enjoy $15 lunch at BP where you get an entree, a side, and a drink, and you'll get it all in 20 minutes or less. A fast lunch doesn't have to be fast food. See you for a $15 fast lunch at your local Boston Pizza. We've been asking people if hiring Babcock is the right move, and I'm not surprised. Overwhelmingly negative online voting.
Well, what do you think people would have said when they said, you know, if you presented that when there wasn't even rumblings about Tortorella, but if you said that about what do you think about Tortorella to Vegas, what do you think people would have said? Absolutely not. This is ridiculous. And look where they are right now.
Well, I was kind of taken aback by Strutty's reaction. Like, he was like flabbergasted.
He said it, lost for words.
Yeah.
Like it was almost like he was trying to find something positive to go, like, what about this? But he said not a lot of success in the last 10 years, all of that type of stuff. But again, it's been bizarro world this whole year with hockey. Like, it really has. If the players are signing off on it, it's clear the one thing that they do need in Edmonton, outside, you've talked about it, some better roster construction or decisions in the offseason here, is that core and that organization feels they need a hardened, structured coach. So that's Babcock, that's Cassidy, that's Laviolette. Laviolette's off the board, Cassidy not available. So now it's Babcock.
You know what the key word to kind of – I think a key word in all of this equation for all of these teams kind of searching and looking is the word is desperation. And when you're desperate and you're in desperate times where you've got Connor McDavid who's got 2 years left and you want to try to get it done, you start searching in areas you probably thought you never would. And
that's right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, desperation leads people down avenues that you'd never thought you would be in. And I'm sure that's I don't know how big a part of the equation, but I'm sure it's a significant one where it's like, we got to do something here, and we got to find something outside the box. Look at what Vegas just did. They brought in Torts. So I'm telling you, it's just desperation will take you down an avenue you never thought you would be in.
And listen, Mike Babcock will not be there for 10 years. You got 2 years. You got to get a cup in the next 2 years. Yeah. Or feel like you're knocking on the door.
Kelly McCrimmon said, I need John Tortorella for 3 months.
Yeah.
That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's, I brought that up at the start of the show, and I'm not sure if you agree or not, but I mean, Vegas is showing a pathway. It's like we need to try and do what we need to, and we don't make any apologies for it right now. Like, that's it. Whether they're signings, the firings, all of that type of stuff. And I think that's the rest of the league is paying attention, going, we don't care about blowback. We don't care. Yep. What we're trying to do is win. That's what you need to do.
Yeah, and that seems like a reasonable mentality. Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It is Futures Day on the FanDuel Sportsbook app for the World Cup. I got Spain into the semis. It's paying a low price, plus 120, but everyone I'm talking to
I love the Spaniards.
Spain's going to win this thing. So you get plus money on them into the semis, and I'm going to sprinkle on Canada to win the group. I know that's ambitious. I know that's more of a patriotic play. Plus 175. I think they can beat Bosnia. I know they can beat Qatar. It'll come down to that Swiss match. They can get a draw there. I think they can find a way to win this and stay in Canada into the elimination round, which would be huge. Best Bets powered by FanDuel. It's the final countdown to the biggest tournament of the summer, and FanDuel celebrating with Futures Day. Make sure to check it out on the FanDuel Sportsbook app for the latest match odds, tournament futures, and novelty props. I love it. I love this. I love the week we're about to have because we're at the Open tomorrow. We cannot wait to get up there. We got the World Cup on Friday. We're going to be downtown on Friday for that. Cup final, NBA finals, coaches getting hired. The Hart's going to be handed out. Ernie Clement's unreal. Jays are rolling. They're getting healthy, back in action tonight. It's a thing of beauty. It's going to be a great, great week. All right, thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web, up on YouTube Live on TSN's YouTube channel, and soon to be streaming up on Crave. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at...
Hazy, you'd miss that putt and then crap yourself immediately. 4 p.m.
We'll chat then.